Prior to my experience, I was extremely depressed. I felt a deep-seated sense of failure and worthlessness. It was as if my life meant nothing and that I was a failure in every way imaginable. The sense of helplessness only grew stronger over time, and so did my feelings of worthlessness. I had been struggling every day to make peace with that fact. I frequently failed to work adequately and was plagued with panic attacks and intense anxiety on the job. Over time, these problems only made my depression worse. After losing my driver's license after police thought I was drunk, this was the day I wanted to die. I was not drunk. I blew 0.00 twice on their machines and the blood test read normal. What actually happened was that I had an adverse reaction to my prescribed medication. I planned my escape my life. I researched how best to commit suicide. Then I began slowly ingesting them. I had clinically stopped breathing for 10 to 15 minutes before paramedics arrived. They intubated me immediately upon arrival and worked 15 minutes to revive me. My Glasgow Coma Scale, GCS, was a meager 3. I had no responses to life. It hurts me deeply to talk about this. I was rushed into the intensive care unit, ICU, where they put me on a ventilator and in an induced coma to protect my brain from the damages of hypoxia. I would spend 3 days in the ICU while they waited for the drugs to clear my body before lifting the induced coma and removing the ventilator when I started to breathe naturally again. At some point, with all the chaos going on around me, I started to see black. At first it was just black, but quickly I felt as if I was moving rapidly. I was accelerating faster and faster. Then this beautiful orange-white light, of such intensity that I had never experienced before in my life, started to shine down on me. I was moving towards this light at an insane speed. This light was warm. It felt good to be traveling towards it. It seemed as if the light itself was emotions like the emotion of love. But I couldn't tell yet. And just as soon as I started to fly towards this light, I was at the source of this light. It was a great, giant white ball. It was huge but small at the same time. It felt amazing. The light was pouring out love in all directions. And the love it did pour out was love that had no bounds. There was no judgment for what I did to get there. There was just endless pure, bright love. I quickly realized that the light was love itself, the manifestation of love. And the love it was perfect love that loves without conditions, without judgment, and without bounds. It was the perfect kind of love we all look for. Love itself. Suddenly, the light started to communicate with me. It was not through a voice, but through what felt like an ethereal thought and consciousness link. It told me it was sorry that my life got so hard that I couldn't fathom living anymore. It told me that I didn't have to give in anymore and that I could come home. It apologized profusely for my hardships on earth. This was strange, as I didn't think love would apologize to me. It didn't make any sense to me. But it comforted me, and let me know that all things work out, that this would not be the end. There was joy and love with it. That I could move on and be with love forever. Then suddenly, a figure appeared on the horizon. It was Peter. Peter showed up dressed in white clothes, and floated towards me. Peter asked me where I'd like to go, once again communicating with me through this ethereal consciousness link. He explained that it was my choice. I could become one with the light and one with love, or I could return home. He told me that either choice was okay and there would be no judgment. He said that judgment does not exist. I asked him what he thought was the right choice, and he told me the choice was mine alone. He again repeated that either choice is good for me because there was not a right choice. Then he started to say that my wife and child need me. He kept repeating, "Where should you go? Do you want to go into the light?" Peter told me that this was the choice I had to make. If I chose to go into the light, it was a good choice, but that I could not return to earth. Then he told me if I choose to go back to Earth it was also a good choice, and that I would see him again. Eventually, I realized my wife and child needed me just as Peter had said. So, I told Peter that I would go back to be with them. Before departing, the ball of love, God, told me he would fix me. He told me to wait a little while longer while he fixes me. He said he had removed the depression and would allow me to wake up healed. Then the light told me, you will see me again, beloved. Then suddenly, I woke up in the ICU with a tube down my windpipe. I spent 10 days in a psychiatric ward after I woke up and was moved out of the ICU. But just as love promised, I didn't feel depressed anymore. I haven't felt depressed since this experience. And although it hasn't been long enough to tell if I will get depressed again, I feel glad that I am no longer depressed today. I woke up feeling happy, and happy I remain to this day. The pain doesn't hurt anymore. I can recognize painful things and let them blow off me. I can recognize bad things and let them slide off. Things that used to bother me deeply are just thoughts. I don't have to let them control me or my emotions anymore. I remember the events of that night, including my time with the love, very clearly, clearer than day. They are perhaps the strongest memories I have. The intensity of the love, I can feel to this day. It has forever changed me, because now I want to love without judgment, just as love loved me without judgment. I want to be a replication of love. I wish I could love more openly like that now. It's what I strive to do. I can never love as intensely or brightly as love itself, but I do my best to try and love all people as much as I possibly can.